Ladies and gentlemen, the Outlaws of the Marsh, Chapter 7, The Nine Tattooed Dragons, in English, is right here before you. Narrated by Robert Xiaoliang. Well, since Nine Tattooed Dragon, Shi Jin and his father could not persuade the Sifu to stay, the best they could do was to organize a farewell dinner for him. As to show final respect to the teacher, they also presented him with 2 pieces of silk and a handsome amount of silver. The next day, the instructor packed their bags and saddled the horse, and he and his mother bade the squire a farewell. He helped his mother to mount, and they began the journey for Yan'an. Shi Jin now ordered one of the manor servants to carry the pole, and himself accompany them for more than 3 miles of the way. His heart was heavy. At the final parting, he prostrated himself and then returned in tears to the manor. So the Sifu took up the carrying pole as before, and walking behind his mother's horse, continued in the direction of Guanxi, the region beyond the Western Pass. Well, there gone the Sifu Wang Jin. But Shi Jin, the Nine-Tattooed Dragon, who after returning home devoted all himself to training, as he was young and strong and had no old people or children to care for, he thought nothing of getting up in the middle of the night in the 3rd watch to practice martial arts, and during daytime he was always at the back of the manor practicing archery and riding. Got it. But 6 months later, Shi Jin's father, the old squire, suddenly became seriously ill and took to his bed. The son sent for doctors far and wide to cure him, but in vain. In vain, he was sad to relate. He just passed away. Shi Jin arranged the coffin and the burial, called Buddhist monks to exercise ceremonies, and read prayers, fasted, and observed the rites of the 7 times 7 days for the peace of his father's soul. He also caused some Taoist priests who performed the rituals for the dead and prayers to ensure that the soul of the dead man would go directly to heaven. Then the coffin was taken to the tomb and interred. The whole village, 300 or 400 families with the name Shi, came to escort the coffin and pay their final respects. The dead man was buried in the ancestral tomb on the slopes of the west of the village. Well, from now on, there was no one to look after the affairs of the manor. The young man wasn't interested in the farming business at all. All he wanted was to find people with whom to practice martial arts, measuring his skill with staff and sword, and besides the rest of the traditional 18 weapons too. Well, 3 or 4 months passed since the old squire lost his life. It was now the middle of the June, and the days were wettingly hot. One afternoon, when Shi Jin, having nothing to do, took a folding chair and set it in the shadow of a willow tree near the threshing floor to enjoy the cool of the breeze, which was blowing from the direction of a group of pines opposite. Ooh, how cool the breeze is, Shi Jin exclaimed. Oh, terrific, wonderful. While he was enjoying the situation, he was suddenly startled by someone craning his neck and peering around. Oh, that's strange, Shi Jin thought. Who could that be, snooping about my land? He jumped up and got behind the tree to see. He recognized the man called Li Ji, generally known as Rabbit Catcher Li. Hey you, Li Ji. What are you snooping around for? Are you spying out the land for someone? Li Ji prostrated himself and said, Oh, no, sir. I just came to look for Shorty Q to invite him for a cup or two. But I saw your honor there enjoying the breeze, and I didn't want to interrupt you. Well, what had Li Ji brought Xi? Chapter 8 may give you a hint.